All right, welcome to the Horror Slash Show, and this is my co-host Megan. How you doing, Megan?
Hi.
How's it going? Good
Pretty
start.
good.
Good start. Hi. And it is the show. So if we should have a thing for shots every time I say podcast, because I do have another podcast, and originally this was the Horror Slash Podcast before we changed it to show.
Yes, because we want everybody to see our faces.
Exactly, and it presents as a show, but I may say podcast, and if you catch me on that, then point it out, and that's a shot in the bag for you. So anyways, so a little bit about this show. I'm not going to get into it too much because every week's going to be different, but we're going to talk about everything, not just horror, but although that's going to be the main focus of the show, but we're going to talk about cosplay, gaming, sex.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah. I went blank after I said sex. That's it. Okay. We're good. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So we have a cool first episode, and I'm coming out of the gate like really hot. Like I didn't think that episode 1 I'd be like really, really grouchy, but I am. And it's so I'm passionate about a toy line, and not many. I wouldn't say like I'm an overly toy guy, because that's not proper grammar. So no one would say that. But
are you telling me you're not a brony?
I listen. I have definitely things that make me geeky.
One of the say kinky, and I was like, we're not talking about those toys today, Jason.
No. That's come on, it's episode 1. We got to build to something.
It's like episode 2 type of topic, right?
Exactly, yeah, because I'm not one for suspense. So no, but He-Man and Masters of the Universe was a toy line that I was very passionate about as a kid. It's not like I'm passionate about everything that every toy, every cartoon, but that one I was. And Netflix released Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe Revelations a couple of weeks ago, and holy snappers, it has got some insane backlash attached to it. In my opinion, rightfully so. Some of the things that have been talked about are there's a hashtag Kevin Smith lied, because Megan, he lied to us all. He went on the record for about 18 months saying that the storyline was not going to go a certain way, and it ended up going that way. But one of the things that and he's taken a lot on the chin, and rightfully so, because he's been pretty vocal against the fans that hate it. Okay, fine. But I kind of feel like Netflix, which is kind of known for, a lot of it, you Google Netflix and it comes out Netflix political agenda. I feel like Netflix kind of it may have a little bit to do with this, a little bit more than just Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
They just seem to have an agenda of checking boxes over putting out quality art. But anyways, the fan outrage is legit. And lucky for us, we have He-Man, Masters of the Universe author, historian, aficionado, James Eatock on the show to talk about this, and he's been very, very quiet. So we're gonna hopefully
stir the pot.
Yeah, we're gonna extract some goods from James. And so we're looking forward to that. And also on the show, William Butler. And I'm always pumped to talk about William Butler, because this guy has been around. And in the horror industry, this guy has done it all. He writes, directs, produces, acts, and he is one hell of an interview. And I am pumped to have him as our first guest. So what about you?
Well, first of all, I have a great story related to Kevin Smith. And my one thing is I just want this story to get to him, so that way he'll apologize by putting me in moose jaws.
Okay. Okay.
So I lived in California and I worked in an effects shop, and every day I would walk across the street to the Starbucks and I would get my Starbs and I would come back. And I'm walking across and I have the fucking walking man. So I started walking as you're supposed to.
Yeah.
So I'm walking and I get to like the corner right before you hit the sidewalk, and this massive SUV comes this. And people, when I tell you like a finger, like not even a pinky's length away from hitting me, like if it had hit me, I would have died.
Oh,
or
really?
my student loans would have been paid and I would just be a vegetable. So like one of the two. And I like look up and I like look at the driver and he's looking back. I go, Kevin Smith. And he was like, Kevin Smith. So he pulled over and like got out of his car. He's like, are you okay? And I was like, you're Kevin Smith and I'm fine. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And he's like going off, like he was panicking so bad. He's like, did you eat? And I was like, yeah, I just picked up my Starbucks. He's like, good. It's good to have lunch. Yeah. And I was like, can you just take a picture with me? Because my boyfriend, well, my ex-boyfriend is like a huge fan of you. And he's like, yeah, of course. So he took the picture with me. I have it on my Instagram. It's like buried and I look like shit, of course. Because I'm so white, the contrast, I look like a fucking ghost. And yeah, he was really nice. He was nice about it. But now I wanted to get back to him that he almost fucking killed me. And I want to be in Moose Jaws because of it.
Okay. All right. So you got a little bit of an agenda with that. I'm thinking already that there's like, if there's Masters of the Universe fans listening to this, they probably wish you died, because he would have been probably locked up and Masters of the Universe Revelations would not have come out. And I know that sounds dark, but I think there's a significant part of our audience right now that wishes you were dead.
I apologize to the community. I should have just fucking leaned into it and been like, you know what? I'm done.
Oh my God, that's crazy. So
yeah.
So you were just fangirl, and you didn't try to guilt him or anything. You just
No, and I should have. And like I wasn't even fangirling him. It was just that I gave a shit about my ex and I was like, oh, this will be really cool. Let me get a photo. And like, cause I'm not like, I don't freak out that much over celebrities. Like I worked in shops in California. So like we'd have these huge names come in. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the only one I ever geeked out over was Colin Farrell. Cause like, he's like that person when you're a little girl, you're like, oh my God, that's what I want my husband to look like. And now like my boyfriend looks nothing like him, but you know, a girl can dream.
Sure.
And that was pretty much like my only one. So like when I saw him, I was like, oh, this is fine. Cause I had seen him do like, not stand up, but like where he just fucking tells his stories.
Yeah.
I had seen him live and I was like, he's a normal dude. So like I wasn't, you know,
when you were face to face with him, did he look like he was capable of screwing up a toy line cartoon at the time, or was that something that
you know
he hadn't grown into yet?
In that moment, it was right after I had watched I had seen Tusk like 2 years prior, and then he had come out with the fucking Hitler sausages, so he was like going downhill. So I never would have even thunk he had been given something like He-Man.
Yeah.
And then I felt worse afterwards because like I think a month later is when he had that massive heart attack.
Yeah, that was.
So I'm kind of glad he didn't hit and kill me, because then he would have died in jail.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, see, yeah, it has a funny way of working out. Anyways, I'm glad you're here, despite what I feel is a ruined childhood memory. I'd rather have you and a bad cartoon than no you.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, Jason.
Yeah. Well, it's and we're just getting started, so
great.
Buckle up. And listen, I'm very pissed off about this whole He-Man thing, because again, I'm so passionate about it. Why? I don't know, but I am. But I never wish harm on anybody, and I know some of the personal attacks on online can get really, really stupid, and I have nothing against Kevin Smith personally. I just this show sucked, and the way he handled certain things were just notorious holy cow, notoriously horrible. Yeah, like my enunciation.
Yeah.
But let's hope that his next project, which is Clerks 3, I think.
Yeah, and that's my thing with Kevin Smith, is like he is either absolutely on point, amazing with the shit that he does, or he just really drops the ball. And that's fine, because like even the things that might not be his best work, like Tusk and certain things, like Tusk is a weird fucking movie, and you definitely feel weird after watching it, like you just watched a snuff film, kind of weird. And like I think
you watch many
stuff, huh?
You watch many snuff films to be able to compare, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I star in some. Just kidding.
Okay.
But I think his really, really good stuff, like that old school shit, just outweighs bad shit. And I think even with He-Man, it'll die down eventually. But I think people are going to be mad at him for a few years. Just like after Tusk and all that stuff, he went through like a real bad dip.
For sure.
And then he did better, and then he had to dip again. And then like I think him almost dying definitely saved his career a little bit, because everyone got really nervous, and they're like, "We need to stop bullying him, guys." So
yeah. Well, listen, but the problem is that's only part one of this He-Man thing, and if part two, man, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get worse before it gets better, unless this part two.
It'll just get worse.
It's just it's just not. But you know what? Here's what I always say, and this is what I say with sequels too, is that this new series came out. I didn't like it. I friggin' loathe it. But you know what? They can't take away the original series, which I grew up on and loved, and like in a subsequent series that came out in the 2000s, they're still there, and I can watch those, right? And I can just forget this one exists and move on.
You can ignore it. You can choose to ignore the new one.
Exactly, and that's what we're gonna do.
That means fuck the new He-Man, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, well, you know what? I have a feeling it's gonna come up a lot, and sorry in advance, but also just thinking about like He-Man, Mark Hamill played the voice of Skeletor, and he also played the voice of Joker. The reason why I'm bringing this up is I was watching Batman the other day, and
which one? There's so many.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I was watching the '89 Batman with Michael Keaton and.
That's a fucking good one, though.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna rip on it. I was like. Okay, yes. Okay, so Tim Burton's 1989.
Oh, it's Catwoman, dude. That is the best fucking Catwoman.
Well, that was Batman Returns, but yes.
Oh, sorry.
No. It's the same series. You're right. Yes.
Edit it out, please.
No. I think everybody knew what you meant. Michelle Pfeiffer, you're right. Like that was like
number one.
Yeah, hard-ons for weeks.
And I mean, Danny DeVito, I wouldn't pass that up.
Well, that's okay. Well, wow. I don't think that's been said very much, especially about his penguin. As the penguin?
Yeah, I would go full send on that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the nose,
the things he could do.
Multi-purpose.
Yeah, what they say about the size of someone's nose.
Yeah.
Huge
dick.
Wow. I don't know. I've never even asked, because it wouldn't even occur to me to ask if anybody found the penguin sexy. But funny enough, it got me to think, like, how despite it being a comic, the role of the Joker has really brought out insanely amazing performances, and in some cases, Oscar worthy. And I just got to thinking, like, who played it best.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna eliminate a couple for my sake. Like, there's Cesar Romero, who played him in the original 60s show, which was, hey, someone might think it was him. Jared Leto in
that's not even up for discussion. If anybody ever comes to me and says that's the number one Joker, I'll punch him square in the fucking face.
Okay, I agree. And yeah, I mean, now I think they kind of redeemed a little bit in Justice League what was so wrong in Suicide Squad, but definitely I'd say he's off the list, despite being an amazing actor. And then Cameron Monaghan in Gotham. Have you watched Gotham?
No.
I haven't.
No, I saw it okay. So I watched Gotham like the very beginning of it, but I do love that actor, and I like the concept of the makeup because I'm in the effects world, so I follow a lot of the people that do those effects. So that makeup is beautiful. I think it's a really interesting take.
Yeah.
And I think like he's so unstable seeming that it makes sense in like a real life situation, but it's also TV Joker. And like how Joker can you be when it's
Yeah.
TV?
So the three candidates for outstanding performance are Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and Joaquin Phoenix. And I don't like, I think I know who I would choose, but it's tough. Is it tough for you or me?
I think it's hard because first of all, Jack Nicholson I fucking love Jack Nicholson. Like I'm a massive fucking fan of him. But I think his Joker doesn't fit in with my age group. I think that's the hard part for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Kind of like the TV series.
Yeah.
Joker didn't. That was the end all and be all for that. And then
it just doesn't hit right. And like, I think that visually, like I love that Joker. I love the look of that Joker a lot. Yeah. It's so classic, you know? Like, classic. And Jack Nicholson's such an intense looking dude. And everything about him I love. Like I have a huge crush for Jack Nicholson, even when he's fat and in a Speedo. That being said, I respect the Heath Ledger one because it was a phenomenal performance and it was a really fun take. And like you can tell he put his all into it. Quite literally, he died.
Yeah.
But I had to go with Joaquin on it because I like that DC with that one. They went so fucking dark. And Marvel is your happy world. Like, yeah, bad shit happens, but there's comedy there.
Yeah.
DC is just fucked up. Yeah. And I think the more DC leans into how they did the newer Joker, that's where they should go. Like, your depressed fucks are going to go DC. Your anxious fucks are going to go Marvel. Like, that's the bridge. And I think they should just lean into it. And I think Joaquin's performance, I think, kind of awoke DC into what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Especially with the new Batman, because I think the new Batman, which I'm actually excited for, because I know people that have worked on it. Like my mentor, when I did hair, Sasha, she did the hair piece for the new Penguin. Is Colin Farrell, and the makeup is fucking beautiful. And it's Zoe Kravitz, who's like one of my all-time just massive female crushes. I'm so in love with her. And it's Robert Pattinson. So I think he wants to like repraise just like a fucking dope ass role that has nothing to do with vampires. And I think he's fully in this. And I think it's just going to be good because I think they're going to keep the same tone that Joaquin set. And
that's
to
awesome.
set an entire tone for an entire fandom or anything like that, like that's pretty big.
That's cool. I hope that's the case because that'd be really, really cool.
Ooh, I'm curious.
Yeah, I know. So I've debated this because I grew up with Jack Nicholson.
Understandable.
Right. And it's Jack Nicholson, right? Like, you know, and I've always defended him. But as time has gone by, I hate to say it, but he has been a little bit dated and it's not his fault. Tim Burton has a style.
Society's going to change as well.
Yeah. And when I first heard, it was funny, when I first heard the news that Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker, I was like, what the hell are they thinking? Well, like, what in God's name? And this is before, like, now like people get cast and you're like, what? But I'm sure it'll be weird and cool. But this was before that. This was like, what? Why? How?
Like when people heard shit like that, they were like, no, you can't do that.
Exactly. And it was like, all you picture the Joker doing is what Jack Nicholson did and Cesar Romero, like just laughing. And you're like, Heath Ledger's gonna do that? No way.
Yeah.
And he blew it out of the water. And
that pencil scene at the very beginning, I think that is
exactly.
Like, pencil scene, and everyone remembers that scene. That's all you have to say.
For sure. And the thing is with his performance is I liked it. I've grown to love it. Like I liked it at the time. It was cool. It was whatever. I've grown to appreciate it more. Whereas with Jack, I kind of grown to just think it's a little bit, kind of quirky, right? But awesome. Listen, awesome. And then there's Joaquin Phoenix, which it was actually painful to watch him. Like you know, his spine, his laugh, his cough, like it was, it was painful, and it was supposed to be.
See, Jason, you were feeling empathy.
Yes, yes. And and I mean, it was such a great performance, and it was a great film. But at the end of the day, when I thought about it hard, I got to give the edge to Heath Ledger.
Okay,
And
I respect that. I mean, I think the thing is between Heath and Joaquin, they both went so deep on it. They both cared so much, and they both did such an amazing job, especially when each Batman or each, like, you know, decade, I guess, at this point that they were in were very, very different with what Batman was doing then.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's kind of hard to compare them, and I think it's one of those things though where like you either pick Heath Ledger or you pick Joaquin, and like that's the answer that most people will have. And I feel like it's at a point where like with us, like we're not arguing which one of ours is better. We're just saying like this is mine.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I mean, it was a painful decision. And so, you know, to mock someone's other opinion who other than yours, I mean, obviously it's useless. But yeah, it was tough. And we're gonna bring on Pole Girl, our Sassysledgehammer, in a few moments, and maybe that could be a poll, one of the first polls that we put out, because I'm kind of curious to know what people think. I mean, you know, we're talking 3 decades of Jokers, and like I said, 2, I think, won Oscars. 1 should have been nominated.
And Joaquin both won Oscars for it. And then funny enough, just a quick fun fact, the woman that did the music for Joker also did the music for Chernobyl. She won 2 different awards in the same year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. She's like this itty bitty little German lady. She's so sweet and like so like just dainty. And then she's making these absolutely like your heart is bleeding with sadness. Scores, and it's amazing. Whenever I feel like my life's getting too happy, I listen to those soundtracks just to reel it in, you know?
That's awesome.
What's up?
Hi.
What's up?
Hey guys.
Our first ever guest.
Wow. Are you on the air right now?
No. Well, let's
pretend
we are.
taping?
Well, you ruined it now.
Cool.
Briggs.
Well, okay, let's do it again.
No, we're all good. How's it going?
What's up?
Okay, well, let me do my intro for you. It's awesome.
Okay,
our first ever guest, writer, director, producer, actor, author, the amazing William Butler.
All of it's true. Except for the amazing.
And he's got time for us. Not much, but he's got time for us.
Well, I will always find time for you because you're the best interviewer on the planet.
Wow.
Tell me about Megan.
Did you hear that, Megan? Did you hear
I gotta talk to me. Oh, me over here. Hi. How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
So I Googled you, and first of all, did you do makeup work and like effects work?
Yeah.
Okay. I used to work out in California. I used to do special effects.
Oh, where at?
So I started at Creature Effects, and then I went over to Vincent Van Dyke's.
Oh my God, he's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
Yeah, Vincent's actually, his wife taught me everything I know.
Oh wow, well, then you must be really good because she's amazing.
Yeah, Sasha's just fucking angel. I call her the hair goddess in my phone. So.
Oh my God, her and John Criswell's wife.
Yeah.
With all that hair work is just. Gosh, that's such a skill that I wish I would have had because that is really.
Yeah, that's what
imagine just going to work. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Going to work, putting on earbuds, listening to music, and just kind of tweaking out, putting like
It's amazing.
It's a good job if you're on diet pills or something, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Jason. yeah. Jason.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being on. You know what? And I'm not going to really reference my other podcast too much, but you were the first guest on that one, and you were the first guest on this one, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So thanks for being here.
That's really nice for a person of my middle shelf fame and accomplishment, but I am very happy, and you do know a lot about me, so that always helps.
Well, you know what? Listen, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. If I had access to, like Clooney's,
Yeah. Right.
you would not be the first on my show.
Right.
But
I get it.
I would still, exactly. I would still love you no less. That's for sure.
Well, the good thing is when I'm on the show, there's always a chance I'll pass out or throw up, and then you'll have a TMZ video, so it's,
I'm going to sell it. So.
Half full.
Well, Megan's been drinking since we've been on, so.
Oh my God.
I'm like 2 beers deep.
Oh, beer. I got to go tonight to Casita del Campo. We just had a friend die, and all my friends are in town. So we're going to go eat later after I finish editing the behind-the-scenes special of the Baby Oopsie anthology that's going to be starting on August 6th. I hope will this air before then? I hope so. Probably not.
It will. It will air August 6th.
It's fucking better, Jason. We're holding you soon now.
Yeah, come on now. I need to promote this shit so I can keep working.
It's going to be August 6th. What do you want from me? It'll be out. Don't worry.
No, it's really I'm shocked to tell you that it's very, very good. I actually said no 100 times to doing it. I'm not big on puppet movies, and I'm certainly not big on demonic toy movies. But he literally said I could do whatever I wanted. So I just,
whoa. Let's slow down there for a second, because you're on.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about this, but might as well start with it now since you're knee deep in it.
Okay.
You said he, and who is he? Said you could.
Okay, so like in 1984, I started working for this very prolific filmmaker named Charles Band. A lot of the fans know who that is. He was the one-time owner of Empire Pictures, and now he's the owner of Full Moon Features. And I started working for him when I was 17, when I worked at John Buechler's mechanical makeup industry shop. I helped create all the creatures. I didn't do too much creating as much as I did painting slime, but I worked for the company for a really long time until I decided that I wanted to go into acting, in which Charlie Band catapulted me into that, and somehow I bamboozled my way into this amazing, fun acting career. And then years later, I became a director. And so when Charlie Band comes a knocking for me to do something, I do it. And even if he has to give me an Indian burn on the arm, and I don't necessarily want to do it. But so I had dinner with him, and he asked me to do the latest installment of this IP that he owns called Demonic Toys. And he wanted me to do this killer baby doll movie. And I replied by saying, fuck no, I'm not doing that. And because anybody who's done a movie knows that directing puppet projects is a living nightmare. But he literally said, you can do whatever you want. He's like, I don't fucking care. Make Eraserhead. I don't care. And I was like, oh, the man is going to write me a check and let me do whatever I want. So I wrote this project. It's basically was inspired by an old TV movie in the 70s called The Girl Most Likely To, where Stockard Channing was this heavy, ugly woman who lost all her weight and got plastic surgery, and then she went and got revenge on everyone that had been mean to her. It's a really good movie. And so we kind of used that as the starting point for our project, where there's a woman who's picked on, and I mean really picked on, and then she gets this mysterious, that was the gardener. He just scared the shit out of me. Okay, let me back. So take it easy out there. Anyway, wow, that just made me jump out of my seat. And I'm a horror film director. Anyway, so basically, after being picked on forever, she gets this anonymous box of toy parts, and she's a doll hoarder. Her house is literally filled with 1,000 dolls. So
which are always creepy in movies.
Yes.
I'm terrified of dolls, so I'm like already ready to piss myself.
Yeah. Wait until you see this puppet's fucking phenomenal. So anyway, what happens is she fixes the doll, and then she slowly realizes that the doll can come to life and is killing everyone that's mean to her. And at first, she really starts to get into it and likes it. But the problem is that the doll runs out of bad people and starts killing the good people. So it becomes housewife against killer doll. And I'll shut up so you can do your thing. But the best part of this project is that I didn't want to do it because we don't normally have money to build a proper mechanical puppet for the project. But having worked on Ghoulies 2 with John Criswell, the head of Henson Mechanics, back in 1984, I called him and said, is there any way that you would be the technical advisor on this? And he helped us build this fully articulate, walking, talking, looking around, servo, radio controlled. Like, we put together all the parts for like $2,000. So the movie turned out really good. Libby Higgins, some of your viewers will know her as the Carla, the McRib lady, who did that video where she said, I asked for my second McRib, and that woman said, you don't need one, you're too fat, and I throat punched that bitch. Well, this video that Libby did got 8 million views, and so her 8 million followers were enough for me to convince Charlie Band she should be the lead in the movie. And
oh my God, that's
she did a great job. I'll take a
awesome.
breath now.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. It sounds good. I mean, you're always seem to be busy, so I don't mind. I haven't. There's a reason why you're just talking a mile a minute, so I'm okay with that. I've been seeing some pictures that you've been posting of this, and I've been meaning to ask. This was because it's so interesting and it's just so out there that I was kind of curious. But this is typical full moon, right? Like, I mean,
it's not actually. That's the funny thing. It really is not. I'm not just saying that because I really am. I've helped. I mean, I worked on all the original stuff, and then he spent years kind of making these productions that were inspired by the original cool stuff, and it's just not for me. I'm really moving away from anything that's too janky. But the thing that's great about this is, like I said, I want the lead in the movie to be a 500-pound woman, and instead of saying no, it needs to be prostitutes in a jacuzzi factory, he said so it's like the movie is yeah. And I mean, there's plenty of room for prostitutes in a jacuzzi factory, don't get me wrong. But anyway, every bit of the movie is different, and that is what made me be able to film 68 pages in 6 days, because I wouldn't have hung. If it would have sucked, I would have hung myself. In fact, baby Oopsie's head, many of her heads are right here. Here's it's kind of, her head's a little stretched. Here's a nice head.
That's a nice head.
Here's
a nice one.
Here's an angry head.
Pissed off.
Oh my God.
Here is, this is kind of a I'm starting to get dirty and possessed head.
Oh my God.
And then this one, which is never before seen and not painted yet, is something may or may not happen to baby Oopsie at the end of the second episode, where she gets kind of,
looks like the Marshmallow Man exploded on her.
Yeah.
It makes me hungry in a weird way.
Yeah, why not?
See, these are the emotions that she that evoke or that get evoked from her. So full moon, I do want to talk about full moon, because I did say, like, how they're kind of like the alternative of horror, right? Like, they're always a machine pumping out film after film after film, and people watch them, yet they don't have, like, this notoriety like mainstream, like like a Blumhouse or anything like that. But they're just a constant machine that just keeps going, and it's awesome, because I think we've touched on this before, but like, their films aren't just your typical horror films.
No,
definitely horror films, but
I think his thing, the reason why the weird thing is, not weird, he likes that niche. He likes that little creature rubber monster movie. That's what he likes. Believe me, I've pitched 1,000 thrillers to him, and he just glazes over. It's like you're pitching to those statues on Easter Island, where they're just sitting there like, okay, but when do they crack open and little things crawl out of them? So he has a small but dedicated army of fans. But I will say, and I'm not just saying this, but you mark my word, a year from now, he is starting to loosen his grasp on, I mean, for instance, him letting me put Libby as the lead is unprecedented in the company. It's usually got to be some cheerleader or whatever. And not to say that Libby isn't pretty, but Libby looks like a normal person. And I took a huge gamble in casting everybody in the movie looks like a normal person. And I thought, this is either going to bite me in the ass so bad, or I'm going to be revered for it. And so far, people are really happy. Women in particular are like, wow, a normal woman is the lead in a horror film. It doesn't happen very often, you know?
No, it doesn't, because they always end up naked somehow.
Right, right. And well, I mean, Libby
she still could be naked, right?
Yeah, Libby's full frontal nudity in this as well.
Thank
Actually,
God.
Though, like
she's
seeing
not. she's not. But you know what? If I would have asked her, she would have. That's
put it in the
for sure,
contract.
She has no off switch.
No, that's like someone I know.
Yeah, we're going to the premiere on. I'm flying to Cleveland with her on Thursday night, which terrifies me because I'm not ready. But
for what?
And then like
the flight or
for the premiere of the first episode. And then her whole conversation is, which one of the crew members am I going to bang? It's just all we talk about. So she's very comfortable with herself.
You know what? I love that, because that's old school conversation, right? Like, you know, nowadays,
no kidding,
right?
No kidding. Oh my God.
I'm all in on that.
You know me well enough to know that I'm a complete whore, and with the world has changed so much, you have to be careful of. You have to be very careful about who you say.
Yeah.
What are you doing later?
It's hard to be a whore.
Especially if you're a straight man, it's really bad. You got to be really careful. You can't go to a bar and get a girl drunk anymore, brother. It's bad news.
I don't talk anymore.
You know?
I just basically shut up and nod. And, yeah. That's it.
Well, maybe that was our plan all along, Jason.
I know.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished.
I'll tell you what's going to happen though, because of all of this sexual sort of conservatism and all this getting canceled. You know, historically, what's going to happen in about 4 years, it's going to turn into like a giant fuck fest. Once COVID is over, you know, it's going to be like, all right, enough of that. I know I can be a prude, but let's get down to business here. Yeah. It's why we're on the planet.
Let's hope.
Well, so if we're still on the planet in 5 years, the rate we're going.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, we're making headway. We're getting there. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about your book, which I am fortunate enough to have. And
didn't I give you one of the first ones?
You offered to give it to me. I purchased it.
Oh, that's even better. My dogs thank you for the dry food that you just purchased.
Well, now I'm like, why did I purchase it? But no, I did purchase it. I did purchase it, and you got to support the team, right?
Did you read any of it? Did you look through any of it?
Listen.
Yeah. No.
You know what? I've been busy, right? So
you're busy now.
I have looked through it, and let me just say, I mean, the pictures are phenomenal. They are
great pictures.
It sounds like I'm joking around, but they are. They really are. And I have read snippets of this book. And
listen to me, you dumb shit. You know enough about me that you could have just lied, and then the audience would not think that you're not reading a book of one of your guests. You just go, it's fucking great. I love the story about when you lived in Rome. That's what you say.
I suck at lying.
Buy one. Come on, Jason.
Come on.
I promoted. What the hell's happening here? This is a microcosm of what's happening in this world. I just getting killed here for no reason.
I wrote a book. I'm a narcissist. I want to hear that people are reading it.
Listen,
it was number one. Number one. I don't need you to read it, man.
You know what, really, honestly, like number one for the Cameron Diaz book club, I'm gonna suggest it. That's how good.
Yeah,
that's how you give a book review, Jason.
All you have to say is, if you have the hots for Viggo Mortensen and you want never told before told stories about Viggo Mortensen, he was my roommate for 5 years. The most trashiest stories about Leslie Jordan, that little Instagram darling. There's a whole chapter on that queen that'll blow your mind.
I'll get to it.
That's enough. Forget about me.
I'll get to it. I was creating this show. I have you as a guest. I had your book is the first one I'm holy crap.
Holy
good
shit.
Start. Good start.
If Lisa Wilcox wrote a book, then maybe I through it.
in fairness, when I was about to buy this book from you, I asked you if there was an audio book. It's easier. I put it on.
It's too hard.
But no pictures.
They still keep asking me. They still keep asking me to do that. I'm not sure I could get through it without, like, you know, some of it's not very easy to remember. But I guess I need to do it. But
get a reader. Get a reader.
I'll get some like lumberjack, like.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah, just some like biker or something.
William Butler was born.
Yeah. Or I'll get Leslie Jordan to read it.
Yeah.
My name is Billy Butler.
Yeah, you don't have to read it. You just get a reader. That's how big you are. Come on.
How about just a computer reads it? Anyway.
Yeah, well, no, hey, listen, Trump didn't read his book, so, you know.
Oh, you don't think so? What's going on?
No.
What's something was going on today? I had one eye on the TV. I can't. Is the world okay?
We're not talking. Okay? We're not talking Trump. We got minimal time with you. We're not talking Trump.
No, I'm not talking about that. I just mean in general. I don't mean I mean in general.
Okay.
What's going on with COVID?
One thing I do know about this book is you do hold nothing back, and you and I did an interview with you a while ago, and you really got into some of the stories, and you held nothing back in this book, or if you did, I mean,
no, I don't think there's anything left.
Were there any fallouts?
Let me think. Yes. You know, a lot of the stories that I wrote about work stuff, I had to really measure because I was very honest about some of the companies I worked with. And the movie companies that I knew I would never work with again, and they were fucking cunts. I didn't care. I felt like they had it coming because what I was saying was the truth. So that wasn't bad. Kind of hurt. I didn't appreciate that, but they understood. And then there's one client that I have that it's been pretty quiet since then. But again, if you don't want a book written about you, don't be an asshole when a writer is working with you. It's a very simple combination, and especially one who is almost closing in on 60, who generates his own work. I just don't give a fuck. Like. Don't if you don't if you get to the end of the book, you'll see that part of this weird attitude that I have now is that I just am not working with assholes anymore. And that book is a classic example of me desperately trying to please everyone around me, starving myself as an actor, like just being a skeleton to keep my agent, then working all these major networks and just taking shit off people that were not as good as me and not as kind as me, and I'm not doing anymore. So if I have to create my own projects and direct puppet movies for Charlie Band or direct theater, I'll just do that. Like so that part of it, I'm kind of off Hollywood's leash. But yes, there was a little, and then there was a couple things because I asked everyone, like Leslie Jordan and I used piles of every kind of drug you could when we were roommates. And he's famous now. And I talked to him about, whether that was okay to discuss that. He gave me his blessing. Then he read the book and he's like, oh shit, I didn't know you were going to tell that. And I was like, okay, Queen, I asked you. And then Viggo Viggo Mortensen was always the voice of reason in my life. So he didn't really get mad because most of the time in the book, when I'm fucking up like a drunken idiot, he's telling me like, oh, by the way, you do realize that doing blow for like 3 days in a row, that's what's making you depressed, in case you don't know that. Oh, really? Like, yeah, I was a slow learner at 23 years old. So he didn't really get mad, but overall, yes, there was a few things. And I imagine that Tom Sizemore will end up punching me one day, but that's all right.
Yeah, he was going to do that probably. There's a 50-50 chance he does it to anybody he sees, right?
Whatever. I was raised in the circus. I can handle myself,
So
kick-assly.
Why write the book? Why?
Because all of my friends from the 80s and 90s, I would say about half of my friends are dead or dying from living rough. And every day that I wake up, I'm really, really happy and really thankful. And I learned a lot of really, really valuable lessons by taking a really, really long road to that. So 2 things. I thought it would be nice to have something with me when I go to signings to sign. It can help me make a living if I turn old. I guess I'm already old, and I can have that to sell. And then the other thing is that it makes me feel good to know that maybe in the future a filmmaker or an actor is going through acting books or filmmaking books, and they go, oh, this sounds interesting, and they read it and they learn from either the good things that I've done that have worked out or the very bad things that I've done which didn't work out. The 100% of the feedback I get from the book and the reviews that I get from the book is that anyone that's entering the business should read it, because I did not kill any story or any point. And that even goes for myself, you know.
Nice.
So
cool.
Yeah, that's why.
Megan, do you have?
It's kind of like a survival guide for people getting into it, you know? Like, this 100%. Is what you're gonna go through. This is how it is. And I'm sure like times have not changed that much.
No. So, and I lived through you know, Hollywood, being being incredibly fat when I moved here, and then losing weight and having never even been kissed or anything at like 23 years old, and being good looking and not even knowing when someone was flirting with me, and then being subjected to like producers trying to bang me, directors trying, like I didn't even know that world existed.
Yeah.
And learn, thank God, having been through in the carnival, turn into a con artist and at least get free dinner out of it without having to put out. I mean, if you want to learn that, ladies and gentlemen,
yeah,
if you want a free meal without having to take your clothes off in some seedy hotel room, my book is for you.
Nice. I have it so much easier than you these days. Like, I go on one Tinder date, I'm like, this was really nice. Give him a kiss on the cheek and fucking go.
Yeah.
Block him.
Yeah, right. What they used to do was, how would you like to be the lead in a New Line Cinema movie? And you're like, ooh. Yes. And they're like, start taking their clothes off, you know? It's like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, just take the lobster and fucking run.
Yeah, get out the rubbing alcohol. Let's get this over with. I'm kidding.
So, all kidding aside, though, it's so easy, isn't it? Like, you know, anybody that wants that life or wants that, you know, just say, hey, you know,
but I will also say, I'm on the Hollywood's middle shelf, firmly planted. But I will also say, because the way things are so different now, it makes it even more complicated with the job that I do, even though I'm in the middle. It still feels weird if I hit on anyone that's in the business or I flirt with them or anything. It's like, oh God, here we go. Like, they're gonna think like, and you know, sometimes that happens. Like I on one of the TV series that I've been directing, I flirt.
All right, I want to talk about Miskatonic U. This was on Amazon, correct?
Amazon Prime and on the Full Moon Features app, and it airs, I don't know the air date, but it's going to premiere episodes 1 and 2 cut together as a 70-minute sort of mini movie. It's going to be airing on Pluto at the end of this month, and I don't have an air date yet, but that's fantastic news.
And there's more coming, correct?
Yes. So we did episode 1 and 2, and then it did so well, thank you God, that we're doing 5 more in Cleveland, and most of the cast is coming back. And then there's a huge Herbert West storyline that's unfolding, which is really fun. And I'm just really never happier than when I'm doing that show. It's really, really fun. That's awesome. Has a really sort of sexy, fresh scrubbed college feel to it. There's no baby puppets and all that. It's more like a CW show, you know, it's like hot young scientists, you know, solving the meaning of the universe in between like fucking and stuff like that. It's really fun.
It sounds amazing. Like, that's all you had to sell it as, like the little description on IMDb should just be that.
Yeah. It's like young scientists solve the meaning of life while fucking in their dorm every now and then. It's great.
Perfect.
I know. And it's cool.
And you got some names attached to this. Why don't we?
I did.
Yeah. So when we talk about them,
Amanda Wiss
Woo.
Plays one of the professors, and she has a huge storyline coming up where she's a very, very bad person. And Michael Pare plays one of the heads of the school, and he's not only a very, very dear friend of mine, but he's coming back. And then, like I said, most of the cast.
Great.
And then, of course, Jeffrey Byron, who is from Metal Storm from the 80s, if anyone knows that, which, you know, is amazing. Yeah, he's he's one of Charlie Band's old staple. I brought him back, and he's
Nice.
a huge hit on the show. He's fantastic. All the acting's great. Greg Leitner and I build the monsters ourselves. We just get like piles of like foam and glue and listen to music and just go draw things and make these really cool, wormy, gross. You saw the episode, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and it's fun. It's a fun show, and this is like, in more shows like this should be on.
Yeah.
I loved it. Now the how cool is it though to be able to do your own show? Like, I mean, because you're writing it, right? I mean, you can go anywhere. You exactly. Yeah.
I created it. I pitched it to him. He said no.
That's
said
the
I
dream,
could do it.
William.
100%. Could I retire tomorrow? No, they don't pay. These jobs pay horrifically low rates.
Yeah.
But the good news is, with at least I have several clients, and Full Moon is one of them. At least with Full Moon, it's so consistent that even though, I mean, I could not live on what I make from them, but it's so consistent that it's one of the layers of the money that I am on a constant money grab. My book, this, blah, blah, working for other giant companies, which I can't name on here in case they get mad at me, but other places, yeah. And then, so it is incredible. And it's why I don't say no, because Charlie Band will literally write you a check and say, I'll see you at the screening. It's incredible. Like, you do the whole project, and then he watches the rough cut, gives a little bit of notes. Hey, who do you want to use for your music? Oh, okay, yeah, okay, that sounds great, yeah. He doesn't, like, I mean, anybody that has worked in corporate entertainment could do nothing but appreciate an EP, an executive producer like that, because he just does not get in your way. And he sounds like
the best friend.
He is. He really truly is. As long as you don't want to borrow money from your friend. No, he knows how much money he's going to make back on these things. And trust me, I've seen the numbers. It's not a lot, but it's enough to keep the machine going.
That's good.
He don't get any argument from me on any of that. Like, I get it. And typically I, as he will tell you on Baby Oopsie, I went $20,000 over budget, but I mean,
hey, 20,000.
It'll be fine. It'll level out.
Come on.
Now, do you prefer working on shows more or movies more?
I got to be honest with you. I like working on TV. Well, if I really love the script, I would love to do. I will prefer to do movies. But most of the stuff because I've directed so much scary stuff, I get like a lot of bad horror scripts. So I'm really over that. I have more fun doing TV shows. I'm more apt to do a TV show because it's over really quick and they have a specific style. Are you guys watching White Lotus? What a good show that is.
No.
Oh my God. You gotta,
pen.
YouTube, write it down on HBO, White Lotus.
I'll watch this back.
And I want to hear what you guys think. At last night's episode, there's only about 6 episodes. It's not a long commitment. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, right. I can't do that. And the thing that pisses me off is, not to derail the question, but it's one of those shows where there's a new episode every week instead of just putting it all up there. But now you guys episode 4 will be out next week, and you guys. Anyway, sorry. Viewers, just watch White Lotus, and I have nothing to do with it. If I did, I wouldn't be here. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
anyway.
You want to be talking to us little people.
No.
Nice.
Trying to be funny. Trying to go for the laughs.
No, awesome. Hey, listen, I know you're a busy man, and I want to thank you for your time on today's show.
Man, I just love you, and I just believe in you so much. I just know that you're going to build this platform into a gigantic cash register of publicity, and you just you're very, very good interviewer. Megan makes you feel really comfortable. A lot of these shows that you come on, especially me, because I'm low hanging fruit. Sometimes you get judged a little bit, and it's good to feel welcome, and it makes you open up. So you're going to do really well. And just don't forget me in a couple years when you have Steven Spielberg on here and I'm knocking on your Canadian door and you don't let me in.
I'll never forget you. Listen, I'll say it, like, you were the only person I wanted as my first guest. So I mean that from my heart. And that's just what I think of you. And I wish you all the best. I know you're going to kick butt, and thanks for coming on. We're going to have you on again.
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah.
Thank you
suck
both.
it.
Thank you, Megan. Welcome to hell and the world of the podcast. And Jason, I love you, and I'm sure you'll yell at me later for saying something stupid.
Never.
Bye.
Take care. Take
See you
care.
later, guys.
See you later.
Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. What a lovely man.
Oh, he's so nice. I like him. I was texting Sasha. I was like, I'm interviewing Billy Butler. And she was like, oh my God, he's so nice.
Are you serious? Oh my God. You should have told him that. Oh.
Hey guys.
Hey. How you doing?
I am doing great.
Awesome. So this is our poll girl, and we're going to find out why in a bit, but this is Deandra, and I mean, you got a lot of names. Sassysledgehammer. You got like so many names. I don't even know where to begin, but we're happy to have you on. This is a segment that we're going to be talking about the news in the world of horror and beyond, and we're going to have some fun, some interaction with fans, all because of Deandra.
I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody says to the poll questions.
Yeah.
Because everybody loves a good poll.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody loves a good
Physical,
poll.
internet.
Yeah. Pole dancing.
Nice. Yep. No, that's true. So what do you got for us today? What's going on?
All right. Well, as you can see on my shirt, I have a film by Wes Craven. August 2nd was Wes Craven's heavenly birthday. Of course, he left us in 2015, but he would have been 82 on August 2nd. So happy heavenly birthday to Wes Craven.
Yes. To that. Megan, you've been drinking all show. You might as well cheers
I know,
finally.
I finished it, but there's like a drop left, and for Wes, anything, you know.
To Wes. Nice.
To Wes.
Nice.
And then the original Fright Night on the same day also celebrated its 36th anniversary, which that's one of my favorites. After everything in Nightmare on Elm Street comes Fright Night. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's old.
Yeah, hard to believe.
That is
Time
crazy.
flies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And then, of course, I don't know if you guys saw, but the Ghostbusters Afterlife just dropped a second trailer, and it was filled with all kinds of nods and you know, appearances, and then also the figures dropped, so you can see Ghostbusters returning. That's so exciting.
Venkman with the cards, I saw.
Yeah,
like that. Holy crap! When I saw that, I was like, "That is insane. That is awesome."
Yeah.
What'd you think? So, what'd you think of the trailer?
I was in tears because when I was a little kid, my best friend at the time, whenever we would go to this amusement park in Pittsburgh called Kennywood, we would watch Ghostbusters 1 or Ghostbusters 2 going and coming back. And when we would have sleepovers, we'd always watch Ghostbusters. And people that I've invited over for movie nights over the years, it was always like, how about Ghostbusters? So I love Ghostbusters. And to see everybody and the nods, and like, it was just all so exciting. I'm very much looking forward to the movie. What did you guys think?
May, did you end up seeing it?
I haven't seen the second one yet.
No.
But I'm excited for it either way. I think I get lucky because I have friends that have worked on it, so I get to hear all the cool shit that's like happening. Cool. So I'm just excited just for the effects aspect of it, but just the fact that it's also like some of the OGs and there's so many nods to it, and it's fucking Paul Rudd, right?
Yeah.
Like that's American Sweetheart. And
yeah.
So
I'm do no wrong.
Deandra,
did you see the video of Jason Reitman, his commentary on the trailer?
Oh no, I didn't even know he did a commentary on the trailer.
It's about like 15 minutes long, and he breaks down the trailer, which I guess is that a new thing, like doing commentaries on trailers?
I didn't even know that. Never. It's
pretty cool. Check it out. It's he really he breaks it down. He gets into a lot of insight in there. But you were asking about the trailer. I thought it was really, really good. One of the, there's like celebrity deaths that hit you harder than others. And there's a couple that I could think of. And one of them was Harold Ramis.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it was because he just seemed like such a nice guy. But it was funny because I remember just growing up on this movie, and it was always talk about I got something on my freaking mouth here.
Jason's doing his makeup real quick, everyone.
No,
So-
I got a piece of. Sorry, I apologize. I just halted that one. Anyway, so growing up, it was Ghostbusters, and I I absolutely adored it. I had the original toys, the OG toys, and I just grew up with these guys. And the thing I loved the most about Ghostbusters wasn't even the ghosts. Even as a kid, it was the going into business. It was just like, how cool would it be to go into business with your best friends, swing down
Going after ghosts, man.
swing down a pole, that was it. And just knowing that they were buddies, at the time of filming, it was just so cool. And it was always like Ghostbusters 2 missed the mark. Good, but just wasn't what you wanted. And then it was just years of like, can Bill Murray just freaking do this movie so we can, and then Harold Ramis dies, and it's like you realize it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I love the sentimentality that they're playing on, with having it, being Egon's family, and I'm on board. I can't wait. I just really hope that this does right. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I watched the special Movies That Made Us, which is on at least the US Netflix, and they did Ghostbusters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I had
good.
no idea it was just the whole debacle and how everything worked out with the title. I mean, that
I know,
so great.
I know. It was so good. And then
Yeah.
the Ray Parker song, like, when he's like, it now, like, but try and put Ghostbusters in the chorus of a song. It's not
I listened to it like 10 times in the car today.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, that'll be big. And that's coming out, I think December, I think it is. But but I think I don't know. But anyways, looking forward to that one. Cool.
Yeah. And then Trick or Treat, Sam, Trick or Treat Studios is coming out with a Trick or Treat Sam 1/6 scale figure. So
Cool.
that's exciting. I love Sam.
I know.
So cute.
Girls love Sam. Like,
Yeah, of course.
He's adorable.
I know. It's funny.
And he can kill someone for me. Like it's
with his lollipop.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I got excited there for a second. I thought you were gonna say Trick or Treat 2 was coming out. I was like,
Oh,
what?
I wish.
Yeah, I know.
I wish, but who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yes.
There's been a lot of discussion lately on I came across what is the theme of the 2010s, like what kind of horror theme has it been? And I saw an article that says that it's grief horror. So it's basically a character is dealing with inner turmoil, loss, some kind of dread while battling an outer terror, which I thought was really interesting because we've had a lot of A24 films come in that do have a lot of those themes, and some more really just kind of that's dreadful movies that just filled with kind of that. I don't want to say it's a happy feeling because horror, I mean, but for some like slashers, 80s, different, they have a little bit more fun to them. These ones are a little bit more serious. So I thought that was a really interesting conversation that people have been having.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If anybody likes shark movies, there is a documentary called Sharksploitation that's taking a deep dive into shark attack horror movies.
Really?
Which I don't know about anybody else, but I do love me Jaws.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Shark horror movies.
Yeah, it's
love Jaws.
I make the argument that it might be the greatest film ever made, but
it's definitely up there. It is definitely up there.
Yeah, no. My love for Jaws is deep, but you're talking about other movies too, right? Are we talking like Sharknado and stuff like that?
Yeah, just a bunch of some of our favorite shark attack movies out there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing
cool.
that. Because all of Jaws started my my love of sharks back in the day, even though it was terrifying being in the pool. Yeah, I'm sure for everybody was like, "Oh no, it's gonna come out of this vet and eat me."
Exactly.
You're like, I don't know how that's gonna work, but
you can't.
It could.
You can't. I know you can't shake that when you're a kid. There's no kid that could watch Jaws and swim in a pool by themselves or in the deep end all alone and not think about it.
No, my mom was a little kid when it came out. She saw it in theaters.
Really?
Yeah, my mom didn't go into any body of water for I think like 3 years after that.
Yeah, it's
and she had read the book. So she read the book, and then when the book like had just come out because the movie was released so quickly afterwards, she had read the book the year before, and then the next one, the movie came out, and she was like, nope, not going in the water.
I'm out. Yeah, I could see that totally.
Yeah, totally sunk those teeth into her fears.
Yeah.
Tongle is putting out a call for fans to create official posters for the Chucky TV series. They've partnered with USA and Sci-Fi for a fun project that asks Child Play fans to create official posters for the series. The press release said that the creator platform seeks 8 fan installments of the Child's Play franchise to bring to life. Wow, I skipped like 3 sentences there. Hold on a second. Creator platform seeks 8 fan creators to bring the next installment of the Child's Play franchise to life across the official Chucky, USA, and Sci-Fi social channels. Fans will receive exclusive early access to information and imagery from the series that's open now and will go until 12 p.m. Pacific time on August 12th. Or August 11th. I'm sorry, August 11th. Yes.
How do you guys feel about the Chucky series coming out?
Sorry?
How do you feel about it?
Wow, you just jumped topics there. I was going to ask if you guys are submitting.
I'm not that talented.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. One of you talk.
I think it's hard to do horror as a series, I think.
It can be, but it can also work, I think, with good writing. It depends. I don't know. I'm on the fence about Chucky. I'm not like, look, I love Child's Play because it was fun and stuff like that, but I'm not like, there's diehard Child's Play fans. I'm not one of them. But you know, like I appreciate it. And as a series, I don't know. It depends how they're gonna go. Like, is he gonna go from house to house? Is he gonna? Like, it depends, right?
The whole premises.
This is where writing really, you know, makes or breaks the whole the idea. I don't know. Deandra, what do you think?
I love Chucky. I actually like the later movies better because I love fun horror. And so Tiffany is one of my favorite
Bride of
characters
Chucky
of all time. Dude, this is the best.
Yeah.
Might watch that tonight, honestly.
Yeah.
But no, I am very curious to see how they're going to make it into a series. I know we had Scream and The Exorcist, and now they're also, this was another piece of information, but that there's going to be a I Know What You Did Last Summer series. I know that there have been other series, like there's Slasher, which was on Netflix, and then now it's coming to Shudder, and there's a new installment of that that's starting on August 12th. So there have been slasher iterations, but like this is based in like the films brought into. I mean, I know Scream was a little different, which I enjoyed, but then I don't know how they're going to do this. I'm really curious. I have high hopes though, because I actually enjoyed The Cult of Chucky. Yeah. And oh gosh, what was the one with his daughter where she was in the wheelchair? The first one. It was before The Cult of Chucky.
Oh my God.
That one was so good. I'm blanking on it.
That was insane. That one had so much story to it.
I mean, to come back from the goofier movies to come back to that, I mean, I just think they found a really good balance, and I really enjoyed that, but I do like the funnier ones, so we'll see what happens. I just
like to say I believe they're shooting it in my hometown,
Canada.
Toronto.
The whole town of Canada.
No one knows where I live.
All of Canada.
The whole town,
all of Canada.
In Toronto. In Toronto.
Try to get a sneak peek for the listeners.
I know a couple of actors that were going up for parts, so I'll see what I could do. I'll see what strings I could pull.
Man in leather jacket.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's your role.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyways, Pam Grier from Jackie Brown and just a bunch of stuff. Total kick-ass lady has signed on for Pet Sematari's prequel, which I love Pet Cemetery and Pam Grier. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Was the prequel announced a while ago? Because I didn't know about it.
I'm not sure when it was announced, but I can't remember if it was. It could have been a while ago, or it must have slipped under my radar. But yeah, that news just came out.
Nothing is under your radar. You're like on top of everything. So if it wasn't announced, I'm assuming that it
had to be. But I probably missed it somewhere, just with all of the stuff that's on my timeline. Which I'm surprised. I think I heard about it because I knew that it was about Judd.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew
Okay.
about it. I just kind of forgot because I think it was a while. But yeah, Pam Grier, Army of the Dead 2, which I know some people didn't like it, but I really had fun with it.
I'm excited.
I loved it. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, because
Cool.
it's about the lock picker, right? Or the safe picker. What
Yeah.
the fuck are they called?
A picker.
Yeah.
That
So
guy.
Army of the Dead 2. Then there's the Exorcist sequel that is coming out, which is directly linked to the first movie, which is there was a post. Jonathan Tiersten from Sleepaway Camp actually was like, I can't believe that they're coming out with all these remakes. I don't want to be a part of all this stuff. And it's like, why? First of all, it's not a remake, it's a reboot of the same franchise with people returning from the original franchise.
Mhm.
Linda Blair has not yet been asked. She made a statement about it. We'll see what happens.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I'm not big on that whole mindset of about, leave it alone. Cause I think it's almost like the Universal monsters at this point with a lot of different characters and stories. They've become so classic that you can definitely take them on and develop them into a similar story in their own way. But this is part of the original franchise.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're
I'm looking
probably
forward to seeing that.
you're probably a little more open-minded than I am. I mean, but I do see your point. And the other thing is like my thing is that I just don't know if things like this even work, because with the just amount of hatred that is all over the internet when something gets rebooted or comes out with a fresh take, it just, I don't see the win. I don't like I don't know, like if it's the filmmaker's like dream to redo Exorcist, then okay, then I get it. I just it could be a great film, and it can only be a great film for it to be successful, in the opinion of people. Because now, unfortunately, that's what you're battling, is the opinions of people, and whether good or bad, it's an uphill climb. And the Exorcist, Jaws, they're going to be uphill climbs. I mean, but you keep hearing about it now.
Well,
Exorcist
the other thing
sounds
too is I think it's kind of smart where these, I don't even think it's necessarily the directors or the writers or anything. I think a lot of the times it's like the franchisers or the movie companies know that, oh, if we remake this, it's going to piss off a bunch of people, but they're still going to go and see it anyway. So we're still going to get proceeds.
but that's not good, right? I mean,
No,
I agree with what you're
But
saying.
it works. I mean, it's easy cash, I guess.
mean, from a
That's
business standpoint, but
Yeah.
I'm all about the art, ladies.
Yeah. But at the same time, sometimes you just can't appease anybody. I think between
that's the point.
trying to, even some of the sequels, like way back when, like let's just say Freddy's Dead, for example, still part of the sequels. A lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
But then even, Halloween 2018, for some people it was a hit, some people it was a miss. And then you've got things like everybody's like, Robert Englund is Freddy again, which, just so everybody knows, I'm not on that boat. Despite everything, I would actually like a different Freddy, because watching him in the Goldbergs, he came out and it was Freddy again in the makeup and everyone was like, yeah. But then you had a bunch of commenters who were like, look at him in this makeup. He looks so old. Why does he look like it? And like, they did everything. And it just proves you can't appease anybody, because everyone's been dying for Robert to be Freddy again. It's in the Goldbergs, but he's still Freddy again. He doesn't look the way they want him to, so they don't like it. And I honestly didn't like it either. I thought he looked weird.
He did.
But so it's really hard to win. I think there are a lot of people out there who will just find something to criticize. I mean, there are people who love Hereditary, and then you'll have somebody who's like, that movie was terrible, and you're
you can't win.
You can't
win.
But there is a mass agreement on what's good and what's not.
You're gonna have differences of opinions all the time, but I just feel like saying, hey, I'm gonna do Exorcist over again, you're getting the mob ready to go.
I mean, like that one, you just have to know that people are not going to be happy.
Speaking of going, what's going on there, Megan?
Ugh, sorry.
Okay, we were losing.
I was like, losing daylight.
I thought she's wearing a white shirt.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right,
she's
cool.
glowing in the dark. All right, couple more pieces. Fear Street style MCU, Fear Street MCU, so Marvel Cinematic Universe style of slasher universe might be coming. That seems really exciting to me. I'm personally a big superhero fan, and definitely horror and slashers especially. I would just love to see that. I think that would be so much fun.
I agree. That was actually super. So I'm not even saying it because I worked on the second one, but I actually enjoyed the second Fear Street. Yeah. Cool. I just liked the setup of it. Like, I miss the feeling of like something being released and there's like a cliffhanger and you're so excited for it to come out. And I thought the story was so good. I thought it was a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you know what? Go for it, right? You know, it's like one of those things. If it sucks, you don't watch it. If it's good, cool, it's around, right? So, but yeah, that does sound like an exciting, you know.
I think it's also pretty fresh. I mean, the idea of just all these films tied to each other in the same sort of vein, it just sounds really cool. Like, I'm interested to see how they do it for horror, because it's been done for superhero movies for such a long time and action
so
movies.
Well.
Yeah. So bring that to horror, that would be very cool.
Cool.
Which brings me to, since those were slasher based, and a lot of news is pretty much slasher based. There's another debate online, and there have been posts, and I made a post about this. Is this now the time for the slasher revival? Because we've had zombies, we've had things over the time, and personally, slashers are my favorite, and so I've been waiting for this moment.
It's happening.
Yes, I mean, it just seems so much, from Fear Street to Chucky to Candyman, to the new Scream, to the I Know What You Did Last Summer series, and then of course Slasher keeps coming out with stuff, and just a bunch of things. It seems that there is a slasher revival, and so I'm wondering for you, and maybe anybody else out there, do you agree? Or because I've had comments where people say, well, they've been making slasher at a steady drumbeat for a while, and yes, but I do not remember it being this magnitude because of how much I love the subgenre of slashers. I don't remember it this volume.
I think they've been making, they always make slasher films, but they're always like, you know, some in most cases D-grade films that you're just kind of digging up, right? Not that they're not good, but quality wise, budget wise, you know, promotion wise. And then there are, you know, some slashers that, you know, make their way, but I do feel what you're saying there about like it, you know, maybe kind of coming to the forefront a little bit more.
Yeah.
No, I'm on board.
I mean, I agree completely, because I feel like you were completely right about how there was the whole like Greek tragedy for a while, like Hereditary and Midsummer and like those types of movies. Even though like It Follows is one of my favorite horror movies, and it falls into that genre. But I just like a good slasher movie, because I don't want to watch a movie and then feel like I have to go to a therapist afterwards. Like, and we're getting so much of that. And I was like exhausted after watching movies. I'm like, I don't want to feel this way. I just want to watch some people get killed and like go to bed.
I agree with that. And that's the appeal of slashers. That's why as a kid I started loving them, was because you know, it was just mindless fun. And if you had the stomach for it, you loved them. And if you didn't, you stayed away from them. But that was my, you know, that's where I broke into horror loving with, and it'll always be number one for me. So I say, bring it on. Do it, Deandra. Make it happen.
Let's do it. Awesome.
Well,
that wraps up all the news that I have for now. There's tons out there, but I felt that those were some of the most noteworthy discussion.
That was wicked. Good job. I'm pumped for a few of those things. So next we have polls. So we don't call you poll girl for no reason at all. And the reason why is because we're going to leave here with something to put online for our fans, our viewers to vote on. So, Deandra, do you have something for us?
Well, I definitely want to hear what people think about the idea of the slasher revival. I love hearing those thoughts, to see what horror fans have to say about that. Yes, no, maybe why not? But there, you know, what's the theme of the 2010s? Is it grief horror? Is it something else? That's a little bit more of an open-ended question. But what do you guys think? What are some hot topics that you've either had on your mind now or in the recent past?
Well, I like the slasher one. Megan, what do you think?
Yeah,
Like, I
I'm
think
gonna
that's a
go
good
slasher.
question. I like the fact that to see if people, I mean, you might get a lot of that, right? You might get a lot of like, well, no, they've always been around. I mean, option C. But I am curious whether it's like, do you think they're being revived, or do you like the fact that they're being revived? I don't know if what question works better for you ladies.
I think if people, I don't know. I feel like it's happening either way, and it's like if people want the new thing to be slasher movies,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Are we ready for that slasher revival?
Yeah.
And if somebody wants a follow-up question, what does it say? And this is something about this is something for people to expand on, but does it say anything about our modern culture? Because horror is so reflective of what happens at the time. Why slashers now? Is it for money after the pandemic? Everybody lost money because they're cheaper to make, they get more back. Is it something about, everybody just wants fun because we've just been through actual
I think that's
hell.
exactly it. Like, I think people are just worn out, and I think like movies that are just a little bit deeper are going to be short-lived in the next few years because we're just fucking tired. Like, I know everyone is.
Yeah.
Everybody's just had a rough year, and now it's going beyond a year, and now we're possibly falling back into it. And I think people just want mindless horror, and that's exactly what a slasher is. It's so nice.
Yeah. So, okay. So what do we want the question? Do we want the question to be, do you want this? Do you think this is happening? Or what do you think?
I think asking people if they want to see, because this is where it gets a little complicated. Like, do they really think that it's been, I think this is where people might have the little bit more of a weigh in. We might have a little bit more of a yes or no. Is it a revival? Is it not? Because there have been like TV shows and movies throughout, but they haven't been like in major media in the way that they are now. Or there's the idea of, do you like slashers? But I feel like a lot of horror fans generally like slashers. So they're probably very excited to see the revival of it. I know some people who think that it's the cheapest of the subgenres. It like just people who want more mind-bending horror, like why slashers? It's so cheesy and cheap and filled with tropes, but like,
I think that's a minority. I think that's a minority.
Yeah.
I think we go with the question, do you think they're going to be revived? Do you think we're on the verge of a revival? I think that gets a little bit more of the opinions going.
Let's do that.
Okay, but also we have another one for you. Before you joined us, we were discussing who played the Joker the best. And so we kind of narrowed it down. There's Jared Leto, there's Cesar Romero from the original one, and Monahan from Gotham, but we narrowed it down to Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and Joaquin Phoenix. And I think that's where the debate lies. If you feel differently, go for it, but putting you on the spot, who's your guy?
Well, for the longest time, it was Mark Hamill, even though he was just the voice. Okay, I love him. I loved it. I loved the laugh.
Yeah.
But when The Dark Knight came out in 2008, I saw that movie in the theaters more than anything else. And it was mostly because of Heath Ledger's Joker. I just loved how he grounded him in reality, and he made him different, but still chaotic and terrifying. It really all depends on what people like. I mean, of course, Jack Nicholson just does it so well. If you had to really pick a live action Joker pretty much directly out of the comics, he did great. Joaquin Phoenix, very interesting. They're all like those takes on those universal monsters kind of things, of how somebody could be this way in these different universes. For personal reasons, I think I'm going to have to go with Heath Ledger, although I do love Jerome in Gotham. He's just so great. I really love him, but if from that list, I would have to say, for me, it's Heath Ledger.
I'm the minority. I said Joaquin. Jason said Heath.
And unlike you two, I kind of grew up with Jack Nicholson. Like, I saw Batman in the theater. Like, and so it's in me. So it was a lot to take it out of me. But I just think that you know, right now, as performances hold up, I think that that one is the one that speaks to me the best. But I think that that's a poll. I think we got to find out. So that, I think that one would be a very, very divided opinion right there. So I think we gotta have two to go out. So,
all right, let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
see what people think.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us on our first episode, first of many. Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you so much for your hard work, and we'll look forward to our more headlines and news and polls in the coming weeks.
Let's find out. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. She's awesome. You were disappearing there for a while.
Oh, it was because I didn't realize that it was getting dark.
You didn't realize it. Oh, it's like that transition where you're like,
I was just looking at the computer screen, and I was like, wait, I looked at myself finally. I was like, oh shit.
Our next guest is a cartoon junkie, and he's published He-Man and She-Ra books such as these, and just so happens to be a big fan of my favorite toy line ever, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. We are happy to have him on from London, England, Mr. James Eatock. How's it going, James?
Hello. Yeah, 10:30 at night over here. This is a late one for me. So yeah, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on, as they say.
Yeah, no problem. Here's Megan. She's also gonna chime in from time to time here. So we have a lot to discuss, and I know that you love this topic, so I'm looking forward to it.
I've been known to talk about it a few times over the last years.
Yeah,
just a little.
Just a teeny bit.
All right, so we Masters of the Universe Revelations has come out, and I'm going to get right into that. You are viewed as an authority figure on Masters of the Universe, whether you like it or not. And that being said, since the release of this rather controversial Netflix Kevin Smith produced show, you've remained very, very quiet. Yes. Why?
So, I mean, anybody who's been online has seen kind of the warring sides of Revelation. Those for it, those against it, those people that casually watched a YouTube video telling them they should hate it as well. I believe they call those clickbaits. So that kind of thing. My take on it was that, not the show itself, but when I began... when the first images for Revelation came out, like I'm a He-Man fan. I'm excited. It's the first He-Man cartoon since the 2002 show. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait to post images, and you hype the community up, as it were. So I was waxing lyrical about it and going, oh, I can't wait for this, I can't wait for that. But ever since it was announced back at PowerCon 2019, I think it was now, because obviously 2020 was a bit of a year. They just a tad. Everybody seemed to focus on that paragraph of text of like, Teela is going to, do the whole show, thing herself. It's like, okay, fine. That's, anybody who knows anything about the original show knows that Teela is probably one of, if not the most important character in the series, because she's someone that is destined to become the most powerful character on the planet when she inherits the power, like becomes the sorceress of Castle Grayskull eventually. So I was like, oh, okay, so they're probably going to follow that path. But just by posting images and talking about it and being excited about it, I found that people were just, attacking me for it. And I was like, okay. And then it got to a point, I think maybe a week and a half before the show aired on the 23rd of July, a week and a half before the show aired, where I was getting so much like private messages, abuse, lots of incredibly foul language, but calling me like a shill, woke, all this business.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. They were attacking you personally?
Oh yeah. I was getting messages and stuff, and it got really kind of depressing, because all I've ever done, in the community since October of '95 was when we started the what do you call it? Like the foundation of the He-Man and She-Ra community was just a bunch of us on this this forum, this website. We formed into this huge, you know, as people come on board and becomes this big thing. Anyway, so I was getting all this abuse, and I was like, do you know what? And I did this thing, but publicly I said, I'm not going to talk about the show until it airs. And then it aired, and I took about 2 days to watch it because I was just so emotionally drained by everything that happened before. I was just like, I'm kind of a bit worn out, you know. So I thought, right, okay, and I watched it over the space of an evening, of course. You know, the days of binge watching are upon us. I watched the 5 episodes that had been uploaded, as it were, to Netflix, watched them, and I had my opinion about it. I was like, okay, the way I just keep telling people is like, there's some things I like, there's some things I didn't like, simple as that. But I didn't say anything publicly because as soon as the show aired, it was ridiculous. There was just, every day people were just fighting with one. You know, you're talking about friendships that go back some 20 years and people warring. Like, I know as soon as I post a review, I'm just going to get blah, 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 blah. So I was like, I'm just going to remain silent.
So, okay, which, I mean, and I can understand to an extent. I mean, and I give you credit because remaining quiet on such a passionate topic is tough. And so that takes a lot of self-restraint. But what I don't get, and I guess you probably don't either, but is you weren't involved in the production of this show. I just don't understand what were some of the comments that were coming to you? Why some of the hate, even when you hadn't even, so it would be different if you did post an opinion. It's still not warranted, but you didn't post anything. I don't understand what hate came your way. Like why?
Because, well, I mean, obviously, you know, being an authority figure, as it were, and people, like, some people do want to know what I think. But the other thing is, what happened was, like I say, because people already had a preconceived idea of what this show was going to be. Like, for an example, I posted one image of Teela, and I called it, like, from the new show. It was like that promotional shot of her where she's running into battle with the sword. And I wrote down, I titled the image Teela's Quest. And I said, look, for those complaining about Teela possibly being a big character in the new show, please understand, in the Filmation cartoon, she was one of the biggest characters in the show. And I explained, like, Teela's Quest, Teela's Triumph, all the episodes named Teela, plus all the other episodes that revolved around her character and her development and her evolution, all this stuff. And the moment I did that, the comments I got on that picture were just horrific. And that's when all the private messages started coming in.
As far as the Masters, like, I mean, I have my opinion. I've been a little bit vocal about my opinion, and I feel like, you know, I'm entitled to. I also don't have to answer to a lot of people like you probably do. So I get that. But largely, this series has been, let's just say it's been criticized a lot more than it's been praised. And I just want to know, I mean, without you even getting into your opinion, but do you, and it's a tricky question.
I'll dodge things like I'm in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
Oh, he's coming.
I'll throw you some jabs.
Boxing, Jason, if you're gonna dodge this much, Jesus.
I'll see how good he is. Are the criticisms, not the personal attacks, the criticisms of the work, are they justified?
It depends. I'll be honest, like, I haven't read enough to know what the general consensus of criticisms are, but I think there's an inherent problem with some of the, how's the best way to put this? I understand, like, I've followed the works of Kevin Smith since Clerks. Like, I admittedly, Clerks wasn't my first film that I watched. My entry point was actually Chasing Amy, which is still one of my favorite films. I understand there are some dated things with that movie, but I still love the heart in Chasing Amy. And I love the Clerks cartoon. Went back, obviously, watched Clerks, Mallrats. And Kevin Smith, like, he'd done an amazing comic book run on Daredevil. I enjoyed some of his stuff he did for the CW shows. I think it was The Flash and Supergirl. But the kind of the problem is that he's a fanboy at heart. So, like so many fanboys, he doesn't take criticism well. So what I've seen online is a lot of people reposting comments that he said. And don't get me wrong, he is allowed to fight back. But there's also a sense of, I think, you should kind of rein it in. You know, some of the stuff he said has warranted people's reactions. That's the best way to put it. He will go around saying, why would I make a He-Man cartoon without He-Man? It's like, well, there are 5 episodes where He-Man's not in it. Like, he's in the first one, and then he pops up in flashbacks. I kind of theorized, because I'm actually good friends with, excuse me, one of the executive producers on the show, Ted Biaselli. I've known Ted for, God, years. We kind of reconnected when I found out he was going to be working on Revelation. I was like, oh my God, Ted, I knew he was the Netflix guy, but I was like, wow, you've made this show happen. So it was a real passion project for him. Talking to him over the last, I'd say, God, year and a half, 2 years has been really lovely, because you see it from the inside. And he, you know, he's a classic fan, Ted. He's just like, I got to tell you about this. I'm like, don't tell me anything. It's weird in a way, because I understand the criticism of He-Man isn't in it enough, but I don't think, at the same time, I think you can tell that story that they've done as they've done it. I don't think He-Man needs to be present in every episode, though I would say I would prefer more flashbacks or more kind of references to the past. I'm not saying like, here's a Filmation piece of animation, but just more kind of callbacks to certain things. It felt that at times when they did the flashbacks, it was, I mean, it was with a wry smile on its face, but I felt there was a little bit of, oh, I feel this is a little bit cutting, like the way they mocked the way He-Man talked. It's like, oh, he talked like a, but at the same time, I kind of got that. But also it's like, yeah, but if you watched, and I think this is the thing, and this is going to sound really harsh, but I think one of the things they didn't do, and it was evident with quite a few of the interviews, is they say, you know, oh, we watched the original show. And it's like, well, if you did, then you didn't watch it all, because if you watched, you know, Teela's Quest, Origin of the Sorceress, Into the Abyss, The Problem with Power, I can name like 10 of the best episodes. Then you would know certain character traits that just weren't present in the series. So I understand people's criticism. I also understand people criticizing it for being, you know, a non-He-Man show, but at the same time, I disagree that it's a Teela show, because it's an ensemble piece. You've got, you know, Teela, Orko, Evil Lyn, Beastman kind of in and out, Roboto, Man at Arms.
But let me, okay, so also for people watching who are a little unfamiliar, so Masters of the Universe Revelations is a sequel to an 80s cartoon, and I'm just gonna go over, these are the broad strokes and issues that I've noticed that people have had with it. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you can watch endless videos, but these are the main issues that have come up. Now, let's keep in mind that He-Man was an 80s boys toy line. So that is always forefront in every argument. But He-Man, the toy's namesake, was nearly in roughly in 8 minutes of roughly a 5-hour show, and was killed very early on. So was the even more iconic, I would argue, Skeletor. Teela, who I would probably say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like if we could maybe compare it to the Marvel universe, which is definitely really popular. Teela's like a Scarlet Witch, a very, very popular character, or maybe even a Black Widow.
I'd say a Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah. Very, very popular character. Belongs there, is crucial to the story. But I think that would be probably along the lines of where she was in all the cartoons that have come before. She was propelled into the lead role. But the problem was, and many have shared this, that she was done so in a very unlikable fashion. Her character was very, very, well, just not really relatable. Very cold and mean.
Say bitchy if you want, Jason.
I'll save that. I'll save that. There's more coming.
Like you're talking about me this time.
They also comment on her look, which, you know, she shaved her head. She had a bodybuilder, and there was gone were any traces of femininity. And again, these are just the main beats. Most of the amazing He-Man characters that people have come to love were either MIA or extremely relegated to bit parts. The male characters were cast aside in essence, and at times belittled. And you kind of mentioned that the He-Man stuff, and I think, like you were saying, that could work as long as the rest of the show has a little bit better of a build up for some of these characters. Then you can poke fun of them. But if you eliminate and poke fun, then it really looks like you're targeting. Yeah, right. There was a body count. In that body count, there were no women, and as well, Castle Grayskull, which is iconic in so many ways as a toy, was basically explained as almost an illusion. It didn't really actually exist. They kind of took away Grayskull. Now, my question to you is, Kevin Smith, more so Netflix, explained this to be a love letter to the fans. Based on what I've just read, if a woman sent you a love letter that looked like that, how loved would you feel, James?
That's a very good point. I mean, it's very difficult to argue those things. There are, like, the argument for Teela's, let's be honest, personality change I've seen is, well, she's reacting to all this stuff that's happened around her. But it's like, yeah, but the Teela that this is the other problem as well, because initially they called it a sequel. And then they kind of went around saying, now they're saying it's a spiritual sequel. But yeah, with regards to Teela, the Teela in the Filmation cartoon was a hothead. She was impulsive. And it's the thing I've said about Filmation since, God, for about 20 years now. I've said the one thing that no other show has been able to do very well is capture. The 2002 cartoon was a fantastic show. The 39 episodes, it's so good.
Yeah.
Dean Stephan, the writer, they had a couple of the original He-Man guys, the late great Larry Tilio, Michael Reeves wrote for that. There was an amazing. It was a masterpiece
in Masters of the Universe.
It really was. I mean, it kind of went a bit weird in the second season, but that first season is just gripping, where the story builds. The Count Marzo, Evil Seed, and then you get the Council of Evil. It's like, oh wow! And that final episode of season 1, where it's just like Adam at Castle Grayskull and all the baddies. It's just like, what? I remember just watching that and being like, oh, it was fantastic. So, but with that show, and it's the one thing I think no other show's been able to replicate from Filmation, is they never quite captured the heart that Filmation had. And whether the heart was because Filmation were restricted by not being able to include violence, or they had to work around things like that. So that's the funny thing. People go, "Oh, Filmation were this, that, and the other." It's like, but at the same time, because their writers were so restricted, their writers had to rely on building this family unit, which is when people say, "Oh, the original was a toy commercial." It's like, it was the worst toy commercial ever. They literally featured in every episode Teela, He-Man, Battle Cat, Orko, King Randall, Queen Marlena, the Sorceress. Bear in mind, 4 of those characters weren't toys. 2 were never toys. The Teela in the original series, upon finding that Prince Adam was He-Man, wouldn't have reacted like that. More so when her father is being destroyed by his longest friend, like his friend of, since they first got into the royal thing together, destroying him. Teela in the original would have rushed to his side and she would have still been angry, but were like, "Your Majesty, do not speak to my father like this. You two have so much." But in this one, I did see the meme going around. I did get it. It's like, I don't, what was the line? It was something like, "Your son may be dead, but nobody told me the secret."
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
and it's like, oh no, again, the argument is from those that worked in the show is that, look, this is her finding out all this stuff, and it's like, Christ, what happens when she finds out her mum's the sorceress? That's going to be, is she going to destroy Eternia at that point?
Well, those are the things. I mean, I hit some of the points that I didn't even get into, like the writing, and I'm not going to be too critical about that, but that was something that really, after the dust settled of all the main frustrating complaints, that kind of surfaced as for why, like, Teela reacting the way she did, blowing up her whole life because someone didn't share a secret with her.
My thing is, I'm just just going to chime in as the woman here.
Okay.
I've been wronged in my life. I've been through plenty of shit. Doesn't mean I take on a completely new persona and make myself unlikable. And I think a huge loss is that you're losing that femininity to her and any kind of kindness. Because then as soon as somebody just turns into a raging bitch, you don't want to listen to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the issue that people had is like, yes, this is a show that the fan group is men over 30. So then if you're going to take a female character, push her to the front, and then make her unlikable, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. And I think a lot of it comes back to Kevin Smith has a wife and a daughter. And his daughter is Gen X, probably, right? That's how that works?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So he has a young daughter. He has a wife. He's obviously very deep within his family. He's the one man. And I think he hears a lot of like the shit that they probably go through. But I think he went too deep into it. Because a lot of the reviews that I've heard, and these are reviews from other women because I kind of wanted to hear both sides of it, is that, yes, it's nice to see a strong, powerful woman, but not every strong, powerful woman has to be a bitch. And it's like sometimes you can be a nice person and still get stuff done and be powerful.
Yeah. I would say like the funniest thing I've seen from certain comments was there was an interview in SFX magazine with they interviewed some of the people behind the show, and I think they interviewed Sarah Michelle Gellar, who said it was something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, but it said something like, yeah, Teela was an afterthought in the original series, and I was like, Teela wasn't an afterthought. She was literally the key component, but also it's like, oh yeah, okay, Filmation didn't care about women. They just made a cartoon called She-Ra that was 93 episodes.
Look, the bottom line is good writing cures everything. And,
of course.
And I think that at the, you can complain about all the things that it wasn't to the fans. But at the same time, if it was written better, and I'll use that, it's a vague word, but like, I mean, if it was constructed better, if the main character, even if Teela was just more likable, there would have been more of an appetite to accept it. And I just don't think that the writing helped it. Now, because we could talk about this forever, and maybe one day we'll get back on and talk about this, and after part 2 comes out of this, because remember, like you had said, this is the first 5 episodes, 5 more to go.
5 more.
Question for you: Do you think after the backlash, do you think Netflix at all reworks the 5 episodes if it follows the trend of the first 5? If they're like, oh crap, that happened, maybe we need to spend a little bit more money and fix things, or
no, those 5 episodes were already made.
Yeah, no, I know, that's what I'm saying, but like, do you think that there's an appetite to maybe fix things if it was following that same trend, or do you think it's just locked in that?
You mean like when Sonic the Hedgehog was completely
after
this
good shout.
And you're like, fuck no.
Yeah,
exactly. Like that.
I honestly, I don't think they're going to change anything. I think they're very much, because I mean, obviously they keep saying, and I get it, and it is a fair argument to make. It's like, look, you've seen 5 episodes, your criticisms are this, that, and this, but the next 5 episodes, and I guess it's that thing of, yeah, but I think we're pretty sure He-Man's not going to pop up in episode 6 anytime soon.
Yeah, I will. The way, yeah.
And then again, that's another problem with it. Given recent versions of He-Man storytelling, I would not be surprised if they go with the story that everyone they kind of did with this story already, that everyone has the power of Grayskull, and therefore they don't need a He-Man, because if anything the brand has done over the last 10-15 years is constantly diminish He-Man's value. Oh no, he's not the first He-Man, there's like 500 others before him. So, really? Or I mean, as a kid, it was weird. I remember like when She-Ra first came, and I was like, but then you get into it's like, oh, this is awesome. They're twins, and they've got this shared history, and they can cross over and stuff.
James, let me just stop you there for a second, because I think if your theories are correct, then God help the internet when the next 5 episodes. And I would advise you just deactivate some of your accounts for a little while. But
I'll deactivate myself.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I mean, if that's the case, this is where I stand on it. But if that's the case, if that's the direction they're going, and He-Man's not important to the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon and toy line, if that's the way they're going, didn't this fall into the wrong hands?
This is the thing, right? So, how's the best way to put this without getting in lots of trouble?
Are your calves hurting with all the tiptoeing right now?
Very much so. So there are a lot of people involved that have been involved with the brand since before Kevin Smith. So Kevin Smith, I think, is getting a lot of the blame, but I don't think, or even the praise. Let's be honest. Let's break it down the middle. He's getting the praise and the blame, but he shouldn't be the only person getting the praise and the blame, because there are other people at Mattel involved who have been involved in the brand for about 7 or 8 years now. And the story that has been constantly put out, and all you got to do is look up comic books like the He-Man Thundercats crossover. Prince Adam is stabbed and killed. Prince Adam and He-Man dies. Right? That was a 3-4 issue miniseries, whatever. Same team, same people involved in that worked on Revelation. Masters of the Multiverse comic. He-Man, I love the idea of it, the basic premise of you had anti-Eternia He-Man going around slaying all the other He-Man, gaining their power from the swords. But it all comes down to the fact that there's a multiverse of He-Man, and I think that's where we're going to go in this series. So to say it fell into the wrong hands, I think it was already in those hands, if that makes sense. It's not a case of, hey, Kevin Smith, do this. Kevin Smith
and Netflix. I think Kevin Smith takes it all on the chin, but I think Netflix has a lot to do with this too, no?
Yes and no. I mean, Mattel are wonderfully infamous for being frustratingly focused, like without any kind of, they're not willing to, put it this way, I've got a friend, former housemate, stroke former landlady, who she and her writing partner have just broke into Hollywood, and they're writing scripts for Netflix, and all these, they're selling scripts, they're doing really well. One of their scripts ended up on the Hollywood blacklist. They're doing very well for themselves. They went to a meeting with unnamed Hollywood producer, and they sat in a room with him, and at his desk, this was the best part, well, it's not the best part, but it's for me, they sat at his desk, and on his desk he had my book, and I was like, oh my god. And she goes, yeah, I was sat there and I was like, Eatock. She goes, that's my housemate's book. And apparently the Hollywood producer guy was just like, He-Man. He goes, one of the most miserable projects I've ever been involved with. He said, because every time we think we've got something, he kept calling the toy company, get involved, and they keep wanting their vision. This is the problem. I'm not going to go on too much of a tangent here. Everyone wants to create the Marvel Cinematic Universe, forgetting how Marvel got there. You don't just go, we've done it.
Yeah.
Apologies for the click. That's not a Thanos reference, but it's that thing of, yes. But they didn't just get there. They built it up with, we'll try this Iron Man film. Oh, that did well. We'll try this Hulk movie. We'll try this movie, that movie. Oh, something's happening. It built up. Every studio now wants to be like, right, so we're going to do a Master Universe live action movie. We're thinking of doing 2 movies, and it's going to be like the history of He-Man and how the power of Grayskull gets there, and just tell the He-Man story.
That's awesome. I honestly, I'll definitely be following that storyline, and I just like to thank you for coming on and being such a great and informative guest.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, on our first episode. So, it was a pleasure meeting.
I want to apologize for the Revelation rant as well. I mean, I was pretty good. You did get some out of it.
You don't need to apologize. You don't need to apologize. It was all good. I thank you very much. I know it's late there in London, but we'll talk to you again soon.
Cool. Thank you for having me. Take care, everybody. Bye.
James Eatock. All right, so that's our first show, Megan.
Wow, I can't believe that happened.
It did. You made it all happen. It's all you.
Thank you. It's just this sweet comedy I have over here, and has nothing to do with your great interviewing skills.
Apparently, I have great interviewing skills, and I am going to put that on my resume and I'm going to really flaunt that in your face whenever you come at me. And I know you're gonna. And I know you will.
I have the power to get me and the guests to fucking gang up on you. So.
Oh, that's good. That is like that's low hanging fruit. That is, but you know, I got some stuff on you.
Yeah.
Great. We're planning vendettas after episode 1. We're ready to take each other down. Perfect.
That's how you know we're gonna get along.
Exactly. But anyways, let's wrap this up. I'd like to thank William Butler for joining us, James Eatock from London, and of course, Deandra Sassysledgehammer for her news and polls. And that's about it. Do you have anything to say?
Thank you, Jason, for making this all possible.
That's it for today's show. And we'll see you next week, or yeah, probably. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.